Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen, as-salatu was-salamu ala rasulihil kareem, amma ba'd, fa'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajeem, bismillahir rahmanir rahim. Nahnu akrabu min hablil wareed, subhana rabbika rabbil izzati amma yasifoon, wa salamun ala al-mursaleen, walhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. My dear respected brothers, elders and sisters, we are entering the month of Dhul Hijjah. And in this month, Muslims throughout the world, they travel to the Holy Land, Makkatul Mukarramah, to commemorate the life of Sayyidina Ibrahim alayhi salatu wassalam. Many Dhul Hijjahs have come in our life and gone. Many a times have we heard the story of Sayyidina Ibrahim alayhi salatu wassalam. But what is the philosophy behind this story? What is the purpose behind this story? Why does Allah Rabbul Izzat mention the life of Sayyidina Ibrahim alayhi salatu wassalam? And not only Sayyidina Ibrahim, but Allah Rabbul Izzat by name, He mentions many incidents and stories of the prophets of the past. There is a reason behind this. The ulama mufassirun, they have written many books on this topic. Why Allah Rabbul Izzat has mentioned the prophets of the past, their lives and their stories. Today we just read these stories for the sake of stories. But why Allah Rabbul Izzat mentions the life of the prophets, it is to take heed, to derive lessons, to extract lessons. So how they have drawn close to Allah Rabbul Izzat, we can draw close in the same fashion and in the same way as well. One outstanding quality in the life of Sayyidina Ibrahim alayhi salatu wasalam, like I said this at the start, Sayyidina Ibrahim alayhi salatu wasalam had many outstanding qualities and attributes. One was his consciousness of Allah Rabbul Izzat, his consciousness. He was very strong in his intellect and in his mind regarding the existence, the presence of Allah Rabbul Izzat. That whatever I am doing, in public or private, big or small, regardless of the kayfiyah, the feeling, Allah Rabbul Izzat is watching. وَهُوَ مَأَكُمْ أَيْنَمَا كُنْتُمْ. Allah is watching. The only thing that can save a person from disobeying Allah Rabbul Izzat, it is this concept. وَهُوَ مَأَكُمْ أَيْنَمَا كُنْتُمْ. Wherever you are, Allah is watching. Today sometimes we go on the internet and we delete the internet history. But we don't realize we can delete the internet history as much as we want. But we cannot delete that amal, that action from these registers. There are angels that are writing whatever we do 24/7. Who will delete this amal, this action, this evil from that register? Today we think we can be the judge of our evil by removing it from the internet, deleting it from the internet. But we don't realize, but on the day of judgment, the judge for this evil will be the judge himself, Allah Rabbul Izzat. A person without Allah is nothing. This is the lesson Sayyidina Ibrahim taught. A person without Allah is nothing. Remember, Allah without man is still Allah. Allah without you and me is still Allah. But you and me without Allah, we are nothing. There's a big difference. Allah does not need us. He is ghani, mustaghni. But as far as we are concerned, we are faqir. Allah says in the glorious Quran, you are all paupers in the courtyard of Allah Rabbul Izzat. If Allah does not will, we cannot take one breath. He can seize our breath. He can seize our life in an instant. It is the mercy and the raham of Allah Rabbul Izzat that Allah has given us an opportunity to please Him. So one outstanding feature lesson we can extract from the life of Sayyidina Ibrahim alayhi salatu wasalam, it is that Sayyidina Ibrahim alayhi salatu wasalam's presence of Allah was great. And this informs us and tells us and instructs us to live a life like that as well. To live in the presence of Allah Rabbul Izzat. To live in the presence of Allah. I will explain. Allama Ibn Jawzi rahimahumullah, in his great work of art, Sayyidul Khatir, has mentioned the steps and the stages and the boxes a person has to tick to experience and feel the presence of Allah Rabbul Izzat. Sayyidina Ibrahim, from the time he got up from bed to the time he went to bed, even while sleeping, he was in the presence of Allah Rabbul Izzat. He could feel Allah Rabbul Izzat in his life. Allah in the glorious Quran says, Nahnu akrabu min hablil warid. I am closer to you than your jugular vein. Allah is closer. When we want to commit sin, we seclude ourselves, we isolate ourselves in a room where no one is watching. And then we think no one is watching, no problem, we can go ahead and do the sin. But we forget, we overlook that Allah is watching. وَهُوَ مَعَكُمْ أَيْنَمَا كُنْتُمْ. Wherever you are, Allah is watching. We do not commit a sin in front of the weak makhluk. We are committing the sin. A person or two people or three people compared to the might and greatness of Allah Rabbul Izzat, we are weak, we are nothing. But we are not ready to commit a sin in front of man who is weak, but we are ready to commit sin in front of Allah who is great and stronger, much stronger than man. We think Allah is not watching, no one is watching, no one is here, no one is watching, no problem. But we don't realize that Allah is watching. The angels are watching. Death is watching. When a person is committing a sin, at all times death is watching. Allah himself is watching. These angels are watching. They are documenting. There was a person in Bani Israel, and he has been mentioned in heavenly books as Zul Rijal, the person of 1 foot. He had 1 foot. There's a story behind this. How many times have we disobeyed Allah and felt guilty? How many times have we disobeyed Allah and made tawbah? If we are not feeling guilty and not making tawbah, the reason is we have not learned to live a life in the presence of Allah. We have not learned to live a life in the presence of Allah. Look today, mashallah, so many cars outside. Everyone has learned to drive a car. Everyone that has got a driving license has learned how to drive a car. But have we learned to use this body in the obedience of Allah Rabbul Izzat? Like there is a way, there is a procedure to learn how to drive. There is a procedure to learn to how to use this body as well. There's a procedure. The procedure is this body has to be used in accordance with the book and the teachings of the Prophet of Allah. If it is not being used according to the book and the teachings of the Prophet of Allah, then we are abusing this machine. We will have an accident. How much time do we spare to understand the commands of the Quran, and how many commands of the Quran apply in our life? How many ayat and verses of the Quran and the teachings of the Prophet are directed at me, directed at us? If you put a monkey behind the steering, what's going to happen? It's obvious. And you turn the car on, somehow he puts his foot on the accelerator, there's going to be a big accident. On the same token, we are all having accidents in our life. We all have accidents when it comes to the deen of Allah Rabbul Izzat. We are not getting up according to the sunnah method. We are not eating according to the sunnah method. We are not dressing according to the sunnah method. We are not socializing according to the sunnah method. We are not treating our wives according to the sunnah method. This is a machine. We have to learn how to use this machine. Now automatically, once you learn how to use a car, Initially when you are learning, you are very diligent and conscious regarding the brakes. You know when to apply the brakes. You are learning. You are in the learning process. You are in the learning phase. It's not automatically you are applying the brakes, you are using your head when you are learning. But once you become professional, once you become competent, when something comes in front, when you get your license, something comes in front of you, automatically you place your foot on the brake and apply force, automatically. Before you were thinking to apply your brakes. Now automatically you're using these feet, automatically. Subliminally you are using them. Your conscious is not even working, you don't have to use it, automatically. This is how Allah wants our body to work, automatically for the deen of Allah. When some female is passing, which is haram for us to look at, we should lower our gazes. Like we apply the brakes automatically, Allah wants us to apply the law of the Quran in our life and lower our gazes. Automatically, we lower our gazes. These hands, it has a haqq. The haqq of these hands are to be used for good. So when we are using these hands for bad, automatically we should pull our hands back. This is how Allah wants us to use our body. Like we learned how to use a car, to drive a car, how we learn how to use a mobile or a computer, we have to learn how to use this body. If we are not learning how to use this body in accordance with Sharia, we will have many accidents in our life and we won't even realize. Many accidents. Hafizul Hadith Ibn Asakir rahimahumullah, he reports on the authority of Abu Ayyub Khazai radiyallahu an. We have to learn, my dear respected brothers. It's not Zulhijjah has come and we will sacrifice a goat or a cow or a camel and it's all over. That's why from the 9th to the 13th, you are performing Hajj or you are not performing Hajj. Male or female, everyone has to say the Takbeerat. Why? What is the hikmat behind this? What is the hikmat behind these Takbeerat? Allahu Akbar, La ilaha illallah, Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar. What is the hikmat? How many times have we ever even counted how many times we are saying Allah? How many times? Anyone can raise their hands and tell me how many times I've just said Allahu Akbar in the Takbeer. It just tells us how much time we spare for the deen of Allah and for Allah Rabbul Izzat. Allahu Akbar, La ilaha illallah, Wallahu Akbar, Lillahi alhamd. 4 times you say Allah. You say this 5 times a day after every first salah, male or female. What is the purpose? What is the hikmah? Now saying the Takbeerat, performing salat has become a routine in our life. There's no soul, spirit in the salah. There's no spirit in the Takbeerat. When we are saying Allahu Akbar, is it hitting me in the heart? Do I feel the warmth of Allah in my heart when I say Allahu Akbar? Do I feel I'm in the presence of Allah Rabbul Izzat? Do I feel that Allah is having mercy upon me? Do I feel I have drawn one step closer to Allah? 5 times 4 is 20. I will say the word Allah 20 times at least per day. Have I drawn 20 stages closer to Allah? Do I feel that difference from before? If not, we are not saying Takbeerah like this should be said. Takbeerah should be said with the spirit. What is the spirit? The spirit of Takbeerat is whenever we say Allahu Akbar, we contemplate the greatness of Allah Rabbul Izzat. Allah is the greatest. We contemplate. Why is it when the azan used to be given, the Prophet of Allah's face, the color of his face used to change? Today the color of our faces changes because we don't want to pray. But why did the Prophet's color of the face change? He used to become pale. Can you imagine a person saying Allahu Akbar? Sayyidina Bilal used to give azan and the Prophet ﷺ used to become oblivious of this dunya. He would not even recognize Sayyidina Aisha, his most beloved wife. The Prophet when the Prophet was asked, who are you? She would say, I'm Aisha. The Prophet would say, who Aisha? Bint Abi Bakr. The Prophet would say, who Bint Abi Bakr? Who is Abu Bakr? He would forget his best mate. He would forget his most beloved wife, Aisha, because he was in a transit phase. He was experiencing something different. He was in a different world. He would forget everything. This is what Allah wants from us, that when we say Allahu Akbar, we forget, we become oblivious of the dunya. There's nothing between me and my Rabb then. That's why the Prophet of Allah has advised us to say Takbeerat over and over again, to get this feeling, to recollect our thoughts, to contemplate the greatness of Allah, and then to see and analyze. After saying Takbeerat, have I drawn close to Allah? Has it increased the love of Allah in my heart? Am I restraining from sin? Has it increased the concept of the hereafter? Has it made me weak as far as the dunya is concerned? Is it eliminating my desires, decreasing my desires? If not, we are not getting the spirit of Takbeerat. The spirit is we say Allahu Akbar, and the greatness of Allah hits our heart. This is the sabak. This is the outstanding lesson in the life of Sayyidina Ibrahim, that Allah is the greatest. You can plan whatever you want, but only that will happen what Allah Rabbul Izzat wants. You can plan whatever you want. You can do whatever you want. But what will happen, what will prevail is what Allah Rabbul Izzat wants. Abu Ayyub Khazai, Hafiz al-Hadith, Ibn Asakir, he mentions on the authority of Abu Ayyub Khazai radiyallahu an, that in the time of Sayyidina Umar Farooq radiyallahu an, may Allah Rabbul Izzat make my children like this. You pray for your children, I will pray for my children. It's a greedy world today. It's a greedy world today. No one thinks about anybody's children. We all think about our children. Because if we were thinking about other people's children, whatever the children in Syria are experiencing would not be experiencing today. It's a sign, it's a greedy world. Be it me, be it you, we don't care. We may pay $50, $100, that's it, but we won't make dua. That's why my dua in your favor will not work, and your dua in my favor will not work. Because the ikhlas is not there. The ikhlas. Tarpana waha nahi. The palpitating is not there. The pain is not there. A dua with the pain can change the fate of this ummah. A dua with pain. There's no pain in our dua today. No pain. What is pain? Pain is when your child is in a hospital. Anyone who has a child and his child in his hospital and in a critical condition, that is pain. He knows what pain is. When you have that pain for the children of this ummah, then no child of this ummah will suffer. No child. Because every child will be my child. Today my child is my child, your child is your child. The love is not there. This is not the teaching of the Prophet of Allah. That's why the condition of the ummah is not the condition as it was in the time of the Prophet. The Prophet had no child, but every child of Medina, they thought the Prophet to be their father. The children that come to the masjid, do they think me to be their father? They don't know what father is. I'm talking about the empathy, the compassion, the love. Every child of Medina thought the Prophet was their father. So much love the Prophet used to shower. Why? It's because of this concept of the hereafter, the presence of Allah Rabbul Izzat. Allah is watching. I can deceive anybody. I can deceive my boss, my wife, my children. I cannot deceive Allah. Innahu alimun bidatis sudur. Even before my tongue, a word is administrated on my tongue, I say a word, Allah knows the feeling in my heart. Nothing is hidden from Allah Rabbul Izzat. Nothing is concealed from Allah Rabbul Izzat. Who do we think we are today, greater than Allah? Sometimes we try to make other people look stupid sometimes. We make other people look stupid sometimes. Ye pagal ka bachcha, isko kya pata hai? Don't we realize Allah is watching? Allah Rabbul Izzat will give hadayat to the ignorant, but He will not give hadayat to the arrogant. This is arrogance. Allah might forgive the ignorant, but He won't forgive the arrogant. We thinking he is stupid, maybe Allah will forgive him and hold me accountable. This young boy used to spend all his time in the masjid. There's not many youth that spend most of their time in the masjid today, because most of the time of our youth, it's spent on the PS4, PS3 or whatever, in the mal'abs, in the playing grounds, or chilling out, or studying. We don't find many children coming to the masjid just for the sake of Allah Rabbul Izzat. Allah ki muhabbat ke liye main aa raha hu masjid. I'm just coming for the sake of Allah. I'm not coming for Fajr, Zohr, Asr, Maghrib. I'm already doing that. I'm coming for the sake of Allah. I want to be in the presence of Allah Rabbul Izzat. Our old are not coming to the masjid. Why will our youth come to the masjid? Our old haven't got time. They are watching the rugby league or rugby union, or the shows on TV, home and away and home and here. The old are not coming to the masjid. Why will the youth come to the masjid? There's no example. There's no benchmark. Masajid are empty. This is a place where Allah distributes His love, the masajid. He distributes His love, His mercy. We are not ready to take Allah's mercy and His rahmah. He used to spend most of his time in the masjid, in the ibadah of Allah Rabbul Izzat. You think a person who is pleasing Allah, Allah will not fulfill his needs? How many times do you see the ulama throughout the world go on a protest? How many times, even though they are poor, they are given minimum wages, the ulama throughout the world, be it Australia, Pakistan or wherever, minimum wages, anywhere in the world, minimum wages. And the people are always thinking of reducing their wages, not increasing, because yet the fakir hai. But how many times have the ulama come out on the streets and protested for an increase in the wage? The doctors have come out, engineers come out, businessmen come out, people from all departments come out and protest, we want to increase. But how many times have you seen the ulama come out? Not even once in the history of Islam, because they are content. Allah has given them that which Allah has not given these people. You think a person who pleases Allah, Allah will leave him alone and stranded? Tu mar, you die, no problem. You think Ibrahim alayhi salam was stranded? Allah left him alone. The king of Babylonia, Nimrud, and all his entourage and army, they were against Sayyidina Ibrahim. But who prevailed? Who came out the winner and who lost? Nimrud and his army lost, and Sayyidina Ibrahim won. This is the lesson Ibrahim is given. If Allah is on your side, you are the winners. But if Allah is not on your side, the whole dunya can be on your side, you will be the loser. Today the Muslims have got everything, but we are still losers. We have no say anywhere. Wherever there is any oppression going on in the world, Muslims are being oppressed. And we have no say. We have no ruler that can speak the haqq and the truth. Why? Because haqq is not prevailing. The truth is not prevailing in our life. We can go back home and say whatever we want, but looking at our condition out there, it's not good. It's not good. We can say whatever we want. We should be optimistic. I don't see much optimism out there. You can be a pessimist or whatever, but there's not much optimistic. There is not much optimism out there. Why? Because of this presence of Allah. Allah is watching. Allah is overlooking me. Whatever I am doing, if I was doing whatever I am doing for the sake of Allah, Allah will never leave us stranded. Never. He would be with us. And when Allah is with the person, the army of Allah is with the person. The army. Who is the army of Allah Rabbul Izzat? The angels. There was a Sahabi. I haven't got time now, inshallah. Time is up, inshallah. We will complete next week. But remember, my dear respected brothers, make dua to Allah Rabbul Izzat. Pray to Allah Rabbul Izzat. Oh Allah, whatever the spirit is of the life of Sayyidina Ibrahim alayhi salatu wasalam, Ya Allah, give us this spirit. The spirit is the greatness of Allah. Allah is the greatest. We have to learn this. We have to sit down in isolation. We have to throw our heads down, look at our heart and say, Allahu Akbar. We have to say this until our heart testifies Allah is the greatest. How many times have we gone home or come to the masjid, thrown our heads down, looked deep into our heart and said, Allahu Akbar. And then our heart has bared witness, Allah is the greatest. This is how Iman comes in the heart. The only greatness in our life today is the dunya. It is not Allah. If it was Allah, this would not be our condition. And Allah will never change our condition until we do not change the condition of our hearts. Until we do not strive and struggle for a qalb salim, a heart that is full of the love of Allah Rabbul Izzat. Wa akhiru da'wana alhamdulillahi rabbil alameen.